the thing is that I've learned, because of there's so many things at play on the internet, never to take anything personal. The way something performs on the internet never defines how good or bad something is.
Welcome back to Inner Sleeve right here on SoundMojo. This is episode number 43. I'm Cassius Morris, Frank Pavan, and Joe Pacheco, my co-hosts. Good to see you guys. It feels like it's been a little while since the long weekend here. Happy Thanksgiving, though, belated.
Mm-hmm. Belated. Yeah, it was a much deserved break, but then, the next day you have to hit the ground running or else you're behind.
You get slammed. You get all those thousands of emails. Yeah, no, it was a good Thanksgiving weekend. Hope listeners and viewers enjoyed their Thanksgiving weekend if they celebrated. But you guys, did you do anything special, by the way? Nothing, Joe, you?
Boring life. I just basically listened to music, watched some movies, played video games, and then
that doesn't sound boring to me. That does not sound boring.
But getting the house prepared for the winter, it's a Canadian thing, right? So you have to get everything ready for the winter, that kind of stuff.
I was just sitting here looking at the camera waiting for us to come back. So here we are. This is what I've done the entire break. Today's guest on the show is none other than the one and only Anthony Vincent. If you know this channel, chances are that you know him, and he's one of the biggest music YouTubers out there. He's also been featured in Motley Crue's The Dirt, for any of the super fans who remember him as John Corabi, and much, much more. Before we jump into today's episode, we have a little bit of housekeeping to do. Frank, if you want to maybe take it away.
Thank you, Cassius. As always, listeners and viewers, make sure to hit that subscribe button over on YouTube, that bell notification to make sure you're up to date with everything and anything that happens on the channel. For those on the audio platforms, subscribe, follow the show, rate, leave a comment, all that good stuff helps us out greatly. And for those who want to go the extra mile, check out in the links below our merchandise. Of course, we have a bunch of stuff available for those who want to check it out. Hoodies, crew necks, all types of stuff, zip up hoodies, all that type of stuff. Yeah, caps, exactly. So give that a look, support the channel in any way, and it's greatly appreciated. And as well as, over on YouTube, check over the community tab. Joe does a great job at engaging with you guys, giving you guys options on what type of music you're listening to on a weekly basis and all that good stuff. So support the channel in any way, greatly appreciated as always. Now we can get into the meat and potatoes. Cassius, Joe, do you want to lead us off?
I was just going to insert a little thank you to the audience for the Nashville video because
good call, Joe.
Yeah, I know we forgot to discuss this, but it was pretty well received thanks to the WatchMojo audience and all that. It was great. Got some good comments. The views went up really well. So for me, I'm just really honored to be part of this team that's able to produce this kind of content. So it's a lot of fun, a lot of work, but a lot of fun.
Yeah,
and I want to say thank you to you, Joe.
Yeah, thanks to you, Joe, for programming it all. But I was gonna say, because of how well received it was, give us some other suggestions.
That's what I was gonna say. Exactly. What's the next cities, artists, genres? What do you want us to cover? And then we'll bring that to the WatchMojo team, and we'll see what we can,
I'm rooting for Atlanta, guys. So hopefully we can get those Atlanta votes in the comments, and we can make this.
There's always the obvious ones, right? Sorry. It's always the obvious ones like Seattle, whatever, which we want to get to, we will get to. But Atlanta's cool, right? I'd love to hit some European cities as well and see, what they had to offer.
I love how people for the Nashville video appreciated Young Buck.
They loved it.
Yeah,
I loved it too.
Very cool.
But that's great. Let us know in the comments, and we'll hit you up with another maybe featured episode like that, or video. Like that. So that is all. Cassius, what do we have on the agenda right now?
Well, we're going to take it from Nashville over to the eastern states on the East Coast. Big time for Tony Bennett. Of course, the iconic. Right? What can you say about this guy? Obviously, would it be fair to say one of the greatest classical singers of all time? I don't think I'm stretching it there.
Well, I don't know. When I hear classical, I think opera or more classical things. But in terms of crooners and
yes,
legends, yeah, for sure. The guy's a legend. I don't know how you cannot be happy. Just look. He's always happy, always in a good mood. The guy's
always
legit. I've always enjoyed his stuff.
When you hear that name, you just know it's iconic and has been there and done that over and over again.
He's the old. Now he will be he sets a new Guinness World Record actually for having and you release at 95. You know what I mean? Like he's had like 70-year career.
That's so crazy to think about. I mean, imagine when this guy was like in his early teens and he was first starting to sing. Do you think he would have ever imagined this? And also doing it with Lady Gaga, by the way, one of the biggest pop stars of our age. I mean, it just is a testament to his staying power. Twice now
with the second album. Yeah. Love for Sale.
That's insane.
Basically.
I definitely don't think a young Tony Bennett would have imagined him working until 95. But like I actually just thinking back on this, like reading up on this story, it just made me laugh a little bit because like this past weekend, it's a bit. I'm getting somewhere with this, but it's going to be a little bit of a stories with Frank here, right? So listen.
Stories with Frank, new segment.
This past weekend, I mean, like my grandparents, we all had Thanksgiving, right? We were all together, and we had a family friend who stopped by, and she's like 82. And she lives on a farm, and she still works like 3 days a week. And she wakes up at 4 a.m. and leaves her house at 5:30 a.m. to work 3 days a week at 82 years old.
Wow.
And my grandmother, my grandmothers, is 87, and really, I mean, she doesn't work. She's retired. She doesn't, she was basically a housewife her entire life. And no discredit to that. I mean, house moms are as important as any other job. But just that, like, she's been retired now. Her kids are obviously much older. And the second she heard that this lady who's 82 still works and wakes up at 4 a.m. to 5:30 to leave for work at 5:30 a.m., and her face was just like this. She was like, what the? She gave her that look. She's like, what the hell are you doing? So to tie it all back to Tony Bennett, like 95 years old, still pumping out music.
Ridiculous.
You also have to keep in mind, like, what work are you doing? Like, this guy's done what he loves to do. So I mean,
I know.
It's just
it does help.
But you don't often think of 90 like anyone older than 85 even working still. So.
No, not a chance. And I mean, that's a funny story. And you know, Tony Bennett going all the way out there. It reminds me, just a quick anecdote. I think it definitely depends on what you do and where you live. When I was out in the Caribbean, never seen healthier people over the age of 70. I literally saw a dude who was like 80, 85, jogging uphill in a tank top. My Auntie Kathleen out there is in her 90s. She looks great. So, hey, maybe Tony Bennett's got some of that Caribbean blood. I don't know.
I honestly think that's like, I always say this because, like, you know, myself as well, like, I never met my grandparents kind of thing, but like I've seen a lot of people with their grandparents. And I find that older generation before us, or even just before my parents, whatever, they like, you had no choice. It was hard work, hard labor, and like, and they also like, especially like, you know, like being European, you know, you eat from the land, so they ate a lot. I think a lot healthier, and I think this is showing now where these people are dying at like 95, 97, 98. Even though like lifespans have gotten longer because of medicine and science and stuff, but I think that has a lot to do because I have neighbors here, like I've mentioned to you guys before. I have neighbors here that will put me to shame working every day in the yard. I'll be like, I gotta take a break, and these guys are still going, and they're like, in their 70s, 80s.
I think to piggyback on that, like people of Tony Bennett's era, like the 20s, the 30s, like nothing, for the most part, nothing was given to them. You know, they worked their butts off to gain everything that they've achieved. And it's not even, I think at the beginning of the conversation, it's like, what do you define work? I don't think this is work for Tony, right?
Exactly.
So
yeah, he's only been eating those genetically modified seeds and foods for 20 years too. I've been eating them my whole life. I'm screwed.
There you go. Yeah.
But listen, we love Tony Bennett. Hats off to him and Lady Gaga. Awesome. It's sad. This is all retirements and older things. In the next story, David Lee Roth. I mean,
here we go.
Guys, when is this guy not in the news? Has there ever been a time since the beginning of Van Halen that this guy hasn't been making headlines?
Diamond Dave. I don't know.
He's nuts. He has just announced his retirement. As you guys probably saw last week, he came out and released a statement. And the news today is that he's actually announced his Las Vegas residency, but most importantly, the artwork for the last tour. And he calls it, I really like this, the awesome. Last tour, unless it isn't. So he's leaving it wide open.
Keeps it open, man.
I love it. Instead of just like, you know, like Motley Crue did, right? And Ozzy, how many times has Ozzy retired or Kiss, right? He's just like, yeah, just in case, you know, leave one foot in.
I mean, do we really think he's going to retire? Because I personally think that this is probably going to be it for him. And I think I've seen a couple signs coming. I mean, when he had the Gene Simmons beef, that was a big one. And also when he recently went to the VMAs, I was looking at the pictures of him on the red carpet, and I was just thinking, like, who is he talking to at these awards?
What do you mean?
Like, he's on the red carpet.
Audience.
Everybody's socializing, all the celebrities. I hate to say it. There's a lot of people there who were winning awards who probably didn't even know who this guy was. So it's like, is he socializing with Machine Gun Kelly and Megan Fox? I mean, what is the idea
I think that's
here?
three or four straight episodes running that we've mentioned Machine Gun Kelly on
Oh,
the show.
God. I mean, that's the
We're gonna have
worst
to have a
streak.
counter. Ding,
But
ding. We're gonna have a
ding, 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 ding.
counter.
Yeah. But so are you trying to say that he's not? You're not trying to say he's out of touch, but he's
I am.
kind of.
Honestly,
Oh, okay, you are. Okay.
It's not in a disrespectful way. It's just in the fact that when he went to that event the other time, I don't know him, but I don't think it's a coincidence that he announced his retirement a week later. That event had to have had something to do with this because, I don't know. That's if you disagree,
Well,
let me know. I mean,
No, I don't know if I disagree, but I don't have an opinion if you should retire or not. I think it's best to go out when you're high, like not high, but like when you're on the up.
he's definitely
But-
high.
What
Yeah,
type of
that's
high
what
are we
I'm
talking
saying.
about here, Joe?
Yeah, exactly. But no, I'm thinking like isn't it weird that like last week was Eddie Van Halen's first anniversary, and then it's like so he was probably in the news a lot, and then all of a sudden this
Oh.
comes out, so maybe. But I mean,
Wow.
like, who knows? Speculation.
No, that's a much better point than mine, Joe, to be frank with you. So yeah, 1 year after Eddie, that probably did affect him.
or he
And,
planned let me get in the news at the same time, and piggyback because
Interesting.
there's going to be Van Halen buzz happening again, But anyway,
what is the greatest, Joe, from your years when you look back? What is the greatest Van Halen song with David Lee Roth on vocals? Can you pick one, or maybe the album if you can't pick the song?
I don't know. That's a good question because every time I listen to an album, I think this is my favorite album. Then I put the next one, like no, this is my favorite album. This one is my favorite.
It is hard.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't think of. I like the song "Unchained" from Van Halen. So like I would probably pick that as my favorite David Lee Roth kind of performance because it sort of has everything. It has his trademark squeal and also has like the little middle section has a bit of that like party vibe where he just talks and stuff and anyway. So I would say "Unchained" I guess for me.
Awesome. I like the Running with the Devil. I mean, listen, what are you gonna do? There's no getting around that. Frank? Any at all?
Not one. So there
Not
you go.
one.
Let's move on.
You probably know Jump. I know Jump from the radio, so
I was gonna say "Jump." Like that album is really, really, really good.
that album's just unbelievable.
insane.
We could go all day on this.
Yeah.
Speaking on going all day, I guess that's not what we were speaking on exactly. We have a little bit of on this day that I
I
think
didn't know
Frank
where you're
has
going with
prepared.
this one, but thank you. Yes.
I'm trying to figure it out each day.
Okay, I've got a bit of on this day for you guys. Let's get this, and then I've got some trivia right after. So, for on this day, let me pull out the right document here because I started to panic. I'm like, where did it all go? On this day, October 15th, 1996, Motley Crue drummer Tommy Lee, good old Tommy, was charged with assault for attacking a cameraman who was trying to take pictures of Lee and his wife, Pamela Anderson Lee, outside an LA club. After pleading no contest, Lee was sentenced to 4 months in prison. Good old Tommy.
Wow, this guy's been to jail a number of times, hasn't he?
I don't want to ring that bell, but I guess I'll ring the MGK bell. But like, and it's funny that like he played Tommy Lee in the movie, which we actually mentioned with our guest today, Anthony Vincent. We actually talk about that, but it's kind of like in the sense of like it was the same situation, right? He picks a fight with somebody, gets into the that doesn't like the photographer taking pictures. So it's, I don't know. I see the parallels.
It's funny that you mentioned that, Joey. It's funny how the world works sometimes with the whole Tommy Lee thing and the movie that MGK and all that.
I think it affected him because watching the Motley Crue movie, I wanted to go and raise hell for 3 days after watching the movie. So if you're playing that character, you're immersed in it, and you're already sort of like a rap rock star, might set you off to be a little crazier, man. I don't know.
Ding ding.
Ding ding ding. This next one was weird. Like this is strange. I don't know if you guys read this off air or off recording. The 15th of October 2013, so not all that long ago, Madonna was banned from a U.S. cinema chain after being accused of texting during a film. Attending the New York Film Festival screening of 12 Years a Slave, great movie, the 55-year-old was reportedly asked to stop texting by an audience member. Tim League CEO of the Alamo Drafthouse chain, so I'm assuming that's the U.S. cinema chain, tweeted, "Until she apologizes to movie fans, Madonna is banned from watching movies at Alamo." How wild is this?
That's a little, I mean, some people would probably say they should do it more, and then I would assume other people would say there should be some leniency there. I mean, it is Madonna after all.
I mean, I can't believe that this, first of all, the moviegoer, the audience member told her to stop texting, and then second of all, it was followed up by the CEO who took it so personally that he banned her. Like, this just seems like there was some deeper stuff going on here. I don't know.
It reminds me of a Seinfeld episode. I don't know if you guys are into Seinfeld or not, but like there's one episode where Jerry's making out during Schindler's List in the theater. It was like a whole. So it's kind of like that, you know, like certain things like just pay attention to the movie, leave the other stuff for after, you know.
Yeah, no, I get that it's rude. I get that it's rude and inappropriate probably to just be on your phone while you're actually, I don't know, you were probably invited to be at this screening.
Well, that's
or
it.
something
It's
like
a film festival. It's not like you're just in a regular theater. It's like the whole point is to, you know, you're watching this film, right?
Exactly.
That's what I'm thinking. Is it an issue of it being a screening / festival? I know they're very uptight about phones in general for filming the screen, but I mean, obviously Madonna's not going to pirate a movie. No. But I do know that when they send the exclusive, I guess they used to send DVDs to celebrities 10 years ago to watch movies early. They would have all this stuff on the screen just so you couldn't copy it and stuff. Like, they don't trust these celebrities at all. So interesting, Frank.
Yeah, I was kind of taken aback when I read that one. But that is the last on this day, boys. We've got some trivia here for you. So this time, Joe and Cassius.
My favorite.
Yes, sir. You know what? I carried you last week, Cassius. So
your back still hurts from last week.
Yeah, man. It's just
carrying
so sore. Just incredibly sore. Okay, first question. Which contemporary pop singer has a tattoo of Jesus Christ on one of his calves?
Oh, man. So many.
Which contemporary pop singer has a tattoo of Jesus Christ on one of his calves?
Is it
pop singer?
Pop. Okay, pop singer. Thanks.
I mean, no, rock singer. No.
Right, rock singer.
Yeah, exactly.
Pop singer. Is it like someone who's current still?
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to say Drake.
Okay.
This guy's got a ton of tattoos.
I don't know about Ed Sheeran. I'm thinking Ed Sheeran, someone's there. Or I know like Bieber's a big tattoo kid.
Ah, that's a good guess. Damn it.
Okay, well then I say Bieber.
We got to add the bell ding 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 one again for Justin Bieber.
Ding, ding,
That's
oh,
wow.
Damn it.
I can't believe I got
Bieber.
a Justin Bieber fact right.
Yes.
Yeah, this is groundbreaking.
Trivia question number 2. This one, I mean, I knew this one reading it. So let's see where you guys are at with this. What country is Shakira originally from?
Oh, easy.
Okay. Cassius, do you know?
I'm going to say I know, but I can't remember. No, I don't know off the top of my head.
Okay, well,
it's not Colombia, is it?
Correct.
Yeah, that's my guess.
Okay. I thought it was Colombia, but I wasn't sure. Didn't want to sound bad. So at least I got an answer right.
Yes, Shakira is originally from and born in Colombia. Number 3. So this one's, you've got some options here. I just felt like this one was freaking hilarious, so I had to include it. The largest game of musical chairs included how many participants?
Wow.
1,511, 8,238, 2,657, or 4,876. Essentially what I'm asking for, the 1,500, the 8,201, 2,600, or 4,800.
I'm tempted to go with 8,000, but like, man, I'd love to see the room.
1,500, 8,200, 2,600, 4,800.
Honestly, I'm thinking of the world's. You're going with 8,000, Joe?
Yeah. Go bigger.
See, I'm thinking it's like, yes, the world's largest, so I would go for like 4,000, but I'm thinking 1,000 people in a room that's not a stadium is pretty packed. I'm going to go with 2,600.
Going big or going home was the correct option.
Oh,
Joe.
that's 3 for 3, man.
Come on.
8,238 people. On August 5th, 1989, the largest game of musical chairs began with 8,238 participants at the Anglo-Chinese School in Singapore. 3.5 hours later, the game ended with the lucky 15-year-old winner, Zhu Chung Wei, on the last remaining chair.
Nice.
That is some crazy shit.
Now, this is something I'm going to be looking up to figure out where the hell this was held.
I wish this was filmed. I mean, 1989, there has to be some type of video cameras. How do you organize 8,238 people? And it's not like you're playing like a superly peaceful game. Like sometimes musical chairs can get a bit physical. Sometimes, things can get out of hand.
A
wrestling match breaks out.
You were warning us.
One moment you're playing musical chairs, the next you're in the WWE ring. So
it felt like I was about to go on a quest, and you were like giving me the rules to the side quest. Like, this could get serious, bro.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god.
So 82,308 participants. Pretty wild. All right, last one for you guys.
Okay.
What band did the great Jimi Hendrix tour with in 1967?
Oh, was he in the band or he toured with a band? Like two bands touring, or was he in the band?
It says, the way it's worded is, what band did he tour with?
Okay.
It'd have to be an opener.
And in the answer, it says that Jimmy managed to get through a total of only 7 dates with X band.
Okay.
So I'll give you 4 options. I'm not going to leave you in the dark here.
Okay, good.
Okay, great.
I was like, damn.
Which band? Here we go. Let's go. Let's just name one. So we've got the Monkees, the Grateful Dead, the Beatles, or the Rolling Stones.
I'm going the Monkees.
Me too.
So keep in mind, 1967, the Monkees, the Grateful Dead, the Beatles, the Rolling Stones.
Monkees.
The Monkees.
Monkees.
So Jimmy managed to get through a total of only 7 dates with the Monkees.
Yes.
Dude, 100%.
Finally.
100%.
Okay. See, I knew it only because the other guys are stadium acts. That's the only I knew there would be like 100,000 people at Grateful Dead, and I didn't know of any Jimmy shows on record like that. So good questions, Frank.
I thought the Experience, right? It's Jimi Hendrix and the Experience. I thought that's why I was like, is it touring with a band? Okay.
Right. And
almost got us.
The end to the fun fact here is culminating in his final show with them on July 17th, 1967, which may or may not have ended with Hendrix saluting the crowd with his middle finger.
May or may not have ended.
May or may not.
I like that. Allegedly.
So that is it. That was a fun little round there we got.
Good stuff for trivia. We're going to keep it coming. And maybe we should come up with something to even get you guys into trivia. You viewers here. I want to maybe give you guys a trivia question next week. So stay tuned for that. This is something we'll have to discuss internally here and figure out. But until then, we have a great podcast that we're about to air with the one and only Anthony Vincent. Listen, if you're subscribed to this channel, you probably know who Anthony Vincent is, one of the biggest music personalities on YouTube, an actor, a singer, a very talented guy, and also just a really cool dude. I think he was a gentleman to us, very gracious with his time. And then we'll be back with a few takeaways right here on Inner Sleeve.
So you think you could stone me and spit in my eye? So you think you can love me, leave me to die? Oh, baby, don't do this to me.
We're back with another tremendous guest right here on Inner Sleeve. It's a pleasure to introduce all the way from New York, Anthony Vincent. What's going on?
How's it going?
Doing fantastic. We appreciate you coming on. Now, I wanted to throw you a little bit of a wild card question. Sorry to put you on the spot here right off the top, but Rolling Stone just released their the revised list of the 500 greatest songs ever. Did you get the chance to check that out by chance?
I didn't.
Okay,
but I would love to know. I would love to know what's on this list.
Now, just before we jump in, I really wanted to get your take on the top 5, and maybe Frank and Joe, I can get yours as well.
Cool.
So the top number 5 greatest song they say ever, Nirvana, Smells Like Teen Spirit. Number 4, Bob Dylan, Like a Rolling Stone. Number 3, Sam Cooke, A Change Is Gonna Come. Number 2, Fight the Power, Public Enemy. And number 1, Aretha Franklin, Respect. How do we feel about that top 5?
I expect the change is going to come to be there. As soon as you said Bob Dylan, like a Rolling Stone, I was like, okay, change is gonna come is gonna be somewhere on this list. I believe that song belongs there. Change is gonna come is one of the greatest songs of all time. I that was a very weird pick to put Public Enemy, and especially put Public Enemy at number 2. That was a little weird, but not that I love Public Enemy. I love all old school 90s hip hop, but I don't know about that one. And Smells Like Teen Spirit is just kind of like, while I do think it's expected to see that song on a list, it also, it's like you can't deny the song either. It's one of those songs that, like, I mean, even after all this time, you can listen to it and it'll still kind of bring you back to the first time you heard it, you know? 100%. So, I mean, I you know, for what it's worth, like, the Public Enemy pick is a little weird. Respect, it's one of the, you know, no, I don't know. I mean, I can see why it's the best song in the entire world. I don't know about that.
Yeah, it's a little hard.
Questionable for sure.
I wouldn't want that job.
It's a great song. I mean, it's iconic. You know what I mean? I would think, I don't know. I would think Unchained Melody would be on there someplace.
Right.
You know?
It probably is.
How did you figure that the next one was coming in after the Bob Dylan one? Like, what made you?
I made a connection because there was I forget which, was it like a Rolling Stone? Which Bob Dylan song? There was a Bob Dylan song that was written that Sam Cooke was very inspired by.
Wow.
It inspired him to write A Change Is Gonna Come. There was a specific Bob Dylan song that inspired him to write A Change Is Gonna Come, because whatever he wrote, Bob Dylan wrote this song with the theme of what was going on in the country and the world at the time, the whole, like, you know, the race stuff. And he was like, and he was almost ashamed that he didn't think of something to write about that himself. But I forget what was it? Something like what the hell was it called? I don't think it was like a Rolling Stone though.
Okay.
Could search it up.
That was the connection I made.
Somebody's gonna have to know in the comments or something.
Yeah, nice wild card there off the top, Cassius. That was did not expect that. We didn't even know that was coming. Jeez.
Is it blowing in the wind?
Yeah, blowing. Yeah.
Okay. See, we're doing like Joe Rogan style. We're getting the answer live on the air. We're not playing around here.
We don't care.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yep.
What song influenced Sam Cooke? Yeah, because I don't want to look like an idiot.
Digging.
Yeah,
Google has helped me with that many times. So it is that song.
Yeah, it is.
Perfect. See, this is cool. We're opening a can of musical knowledge here right off the top, which is interesting.
Well, now I went high, so mine. That's tough because you're going like chest into like a mix. It's a big jump, and then you're bouncing on the register. So mine. It's very tough.
For those who don't know who Anthony Vincent is, let us know how you got started.
I got started on, I got started on Fiverr, you know, the website Fiverr.com. And I created a username called 10 Second Songs because I was selling like custom songs to people. They could get a song in any style they wanted for $10, you know, or for $5. No, $5. Because at the time with Fiverr, it was basically the whole idea of it was focused around charging $5 for things, right? So like I started doing custom songs, and then eventually when I went to go promote it on YouTube, I decided to take a pop song and divide it into 20 different sections and do one song in 20 styles. And that was in March of 2014, and I went viral. It blew up overnight. That year.
Is that the Katy Perry one?
The Katy Perry one.
I'm one of those people who just saw this and said, holy shit, what the fuck?
Right. It blew up out of nowhere. I mean, I went, because I created that YouTube channel on March 15th, and then a week later it had 100,000 subscribers and I'm not. I mean, I'm just and I'm a nobody. I was a nobody back then. I'm still, you know, I mean, whatever. I'm just some guy on the internet now that has 3 million followers. But that's, you know,
we hear stories like that of people going viral, but
well, it means something different now. It means something different now than what it meant back then.
Yeah.
Virality was a different thing altogether. That was the tail end of what people like to call the golden age of YouTube right there.
That's true.
Because then shortly after that, a lot of things changed. A lot of things. I mean, you got to think, like, that was back 2014 was back when Vine was still around.
True.
You know, and then that was before a lot of Viners started to cramp up the YouTube space, you know, after that was shut down. And then you had the whole adpocalypse thing, and then all these restrictions and algorithms changed, and now here we are, you know.
The kids, right? Copa and all that stuff. Is it Copa or something? The kids advertising to kids, like YouTube's had like
there's so much has happened in the past several years, you know. So it was like when something went viral back then. I mean, that was even before Facebook rolled out Facebook video. Okay,
right.
Like when Facebook was still a big thing, and a lot of people were still on it, and you could share a direct link on Facebook and it would actually get traffic. Yeah, you know,
before a teaser clip even.
Right. So I mean, it was different. Definitely, if I were to go and do something like that now, it wouldn't have the same effect.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I've got 2 questions for you, Anthony, right here. And I know you touched on the first time you ever went viral, like taking on these more challenging approaches to making videos and editing and vocals and all that. The first thing that comes to mind after I did a bit of research was like, I want your honest take on which video or idea that you've had that has actually been the most difficult from an editing and even vocal standpoint for you, which has really been like, I don't even know how I did this. Or is it one that you couldn't complete? I don't know. Yeah.
I'll say that the one that gave me the most trouble was actually not even a video that's among my more popular ones. It was Red Hot Chili Peppers' "Give It Away," because at the time I was doing a lot of theatrics. I decided I wanted to take it up a notch in theatrics. So I had this whole section with this John Williams section, and I got my X-Wing. I have an X-Wing over here, and I put it on a Fisher string. And we put it up on a pole or something to specifically, I had one of my guys over here pulling the string. We had fog. I tried to, like, at one point it was really, the performance was important. So I tried to have it be so that the editing was very minimal. And that video, we went overboard, and the thing broke, and we had to fix it, and it took all day, and I couldn't even get it. It took me like 50 takes to do this thing. Because keep in mind, a lot of the way that I did those videos, if I wasn't, like, the more recent videos you'd see, I would cut and it would be like to like green screen or something, right? Mm-hmm. The earlier videos, I made it very, like, I stuck to the whole performance piece, and I did it in one take. It was one video take. I got through it. If I screwed up the last 2 seconds of the video, I had to do the whole take over again.
Wow.
Okay. Eminem, Rap God, and 40 Styles. If I screwed up at the very, very last word, I would have had to done the whole thing again. That's how insane. OCD. That's how OCD I was about those things. It drove me insane. At the same time, as much as I felt like I was having a nervous breakdown plenty of times, I also felt like I was very much in my element. Like it was a kind of like a good kind of madness. It kept me like pushing my limits healthily. Like, because a lot of the times with those videos, like if I picked a certain style or something, I was never picking based on what I knew I could do. I was only picking based on what I think would sound cool if I could pull it off. So a lot of the times I would figure it out. I'd figure out a way to pull it off.
So it was more fun to make it a challenge than to have it be a sure thing.
Exactly.
Number 3, Emotions, Mariah Carey.
It's another song that I covered in one of my videos. You got me feeling emotions. Yeah. the whole thing here is that there's a thing called whistle notes that not many people can do unless you're a diva, unless you have that certain vocal type. That's the octave below what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to go. And does it belong on this list? Yeah, if this list was the top 10 most impossible songs to sing, because there's really only a select few people who can do it. That's about as high as we're attempting to go today.
And my second question, piggybacking off of this conversation and kind of the root idea as to why we wanted to reach out to you in the first place and just kind of pick your brain, was because we are a sister channel of WatchMojo, and you relatively recently released a video challenging a list on WatchMojo. I wanted to, which by the way, for those watching and listening, it's the most difficult songs to sing list from WatchMojo. What made you want to take that on? Was it like, this is so goddamn bad that I need to do something about it, or were you genuinely curious, or like what made you go on this journey?
I just, as somebody who puts up videos on YouTube, I'm always keeping my eyes peeled for an opportunity to get some clicks.
Fair enough.
I'm always looking for stuff. I mean, look, a couple of years ago, I put out the top 10 hardest vocal lines to sing, and that was just that got a lot of attention. It was just me, I wasn't really even going based on an official list. I was more just taking people's challenges, what they thought the top 10 hardest vocal lines were, and I did it that way. So I figured it would be a good way to kind of revisit that format to find a list that's also already had a lot of attention, and see what it's all about. And I kind of expected a lot of the songs that were on that list, a lot of the artists. I forget which one it was. Was it songs or artists?
Songs.
I think it was songs.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
I expected a lot of them to be there.
I know a lot of the, I think you referred to it as whistle notes, or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Those ones threw you off, eh?
Yeah, because it's unrealistic for one, for me,
Right.
like I got a certain vocal type. Everyone has different vocal types. It's unrealistic for one person to be able to do every single singing style on the planet. That's, there are very few people who can even come close. I know there's that one guy, Dimash. He has a pretty stellar range. But I mean, they're few and far between, like really few and far between, if they even exist. You're a freak of nature if you could do that. If you can do if you can sing the rich tone of Elvis's lowest note and also be able to riff in a whistle register like Mariah Carey, I mean, you're like an alien, like straight up.
I agree.
And what's I'm always curious, what's the most deceptively a singer that's hard to sing? Like you think it's easy, but it's like, oh no, this guy's got something to it. It's not as obvious as people think. Like I would think when I used to listen to Queen, Freddie Mercury when I was younger, I'd be like, yeah, it's Queen, But then you started to see all these American Idol guys try to do it, and it's like, wow, it's harder than you think.
Yeah, because it's with someone like Freddie, it's more about his voice. Like it's not so much. I can hit his notes, but when I hit his notes, it sounds like I'm like in an '80s power metal band or like a hair band or something. Whereas when he hits the notes, it sounds like Freddie Mercury.
Yeah.
I mean, there are only a very few people who can actually get. I mean, like Mark Martel can get close, probably closer than anyone. So that's the most difficult. The most difficult are just people who have these iconic voices because it's just so them. Like it's difficult to even it's difficult to sing Nirvana songs,
Right?
Because because it's one thing again to be able to actually sing in that range. It's a whole other thing to.
It's less about the actual song and more about the artist and band that it comes from. Because
his tone.
Anyone like a busker, you could be walking outside the street, a busker, you could be playing that song, and you'll think, well, yeah, it's the song, but it's not them. It's more about the artist and the band. Yeah, I get that. Yeah,
Takes
that makes
a lot
sense.
to sell. Yeah.
Anthony, I'm wondering, when did the music really come in for you? And to sort of add to that question, at what point did you become more analytical with the music and really start like delving in and breaking it down? Was that right away, or did that come later for you?
That came way later.
Okay.
Because I was just always somebody who was into, like, I started getting into my gateway bands when I was younger, like around, when I started listening to music around 10 years old, were Nirvana and Metallica. I feel like anybody, that spans so many generations. They'll say the same thing. Like, their gateway bands into rock and metal music is Nirvana and Metallica.
For sure.
But that's just the rock side, because then after that, then you know, that's when the tree started to branch out, and I started getting into all different types of rock and metal. The other stuff, I was just raised on, you know, all different bands from the 60s, 70s, all oldie stuff from my parents, and my grandparents were all into like the crooner stuff, coming from an Italian American household in New York. So like, you know, all like the Rat Pack and stuff is just always playing.
Yeah.
So like I have like, and then, you know, I was also just always very much into all different types of stuff. Like I always felt like, you know, music was, there's a time and place for every type of music. And I always found something to appreciate in a lot of it. So like in the 90s, I was into all the stuff in the 90s. That's where I grew up in that time, more in the late 90s, early 2000s. So like I was into the music before my time and during my time and after. Like, so I've just been open to all this type of music. I was raised on all different types. I was brought up on it. And then once I started playing music, I started off as a bassist, and I was in metal bands. Then I started singing, and it was when I started learning how to sing and started doing production that I started to branch out and do. I always, for me, the best, my plan of attack was to work with as many people as possible. So I worked with a lot of rappers. I've worked with a lot of different types of singers in my area. And I always just kept an open mind and allowed my experience to mold my variety as a musician. So inadvertently, it has made me very in tune with all different types of music. And obviously, it puts me in a position where I just automatically pick things apart, because I know I'm familiar with so many different parts, you know?
100%. Once you start taking those and breaking them down, it's like building a computer or a car, I guess. You get familiar with all those parts, and then you can sort of...
You just have a whole library in your head. Like, you know...
Yeah.
That's why, like, when you mentioned that top 5 list, and like my brain just based on like a memory I had about Bob Dylan and Sam Cooke made that connection, and I knew he was going to be on that list.
Right.
You know?
Okay.
Pretty good prediction too.
Have you received any offers from like more established bands at this point? Like, hey, we're looking for a singer.
I've had opportunities, but they never materialized. Some of the opportunities was because I decided it wasn't a good fit for me, which wasn't an easy decision to make. But at the same time, in hindsight, I have no regrets, because, you know, these were established artists. I'm not going to name names, but they were more established artists that if it had materialized, it would have just been the established artist and the YouTuber, you know. I know that soon, you know, like the best thing for me to do is to come out and do something that isn't piggybacking on anyone or riding the coattails of anybody big. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like that's the best thing, the best plan of action for me is to go about, like, when I do start putting out originals more consistently, is to just make my own way. That's what we're all doing right now.
Speaking of originals, I had a question here. I was wondering, because like people are so used to nailing these awesome covers and challenges, like, and I know you put up some originals and stuff. So how does the audience react to that? Is it like, yeah, that's great, give us more of this?
They like it. It depends on really what you want to put out and what you feel best represents you, and you have to be the one to drive that and lead that. Like, you gotta lead your audience if that's what you really want to be doing. I put out, I have my band, which is just a band with my friends, and we have a couple of songs, like a few songs that we wrote in the past year that I definitely want to put out. And that was one of the last songs I put out was from my band, a song called Stay Inside. And I knew before I even put it out that the algorithm wasn't going to treat it very well. Because that's just the way it works here. Like, you got to understand that. Like, I used to be I would almost be like this mentality that if I put something out and it does poorly, it's because it's bad. It's not true.
Yeah.
It's because algorithms, they work in a weird way where they'll show only a small percentage of people, and then based on their interest in that, and if they find even just the thumbnail appealing, that will determine whether or not they're going to show anyone else. That's just the way it works. So I knew it, and I accepted that fact. So what I did was I made sure I really promoted it, and I got as many people behind it as possible, and took that approach. And there was a lot of support for it, a lot of support. It had great engagement, but it's still, in terms of performance, I'm not sure what the hell. Like, we're told that the algorithm, hey, go and if you get a bunch of comments in the first hour, and you get a bunch of likes, it's going to show up in more people's feed. Well, we had, I don't know what 70,000 view videos you see regularly that have like 2,000, 3,000 comments and over 12,000 likes versus 94 dislikes that stay at 70,000 views. But that's exactly what happened with that video.
Wow.
I've seen videos that had 300,000 views with 700 comments. That doesn't make this doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it is.
So, like, the thing is that I've learned, because of there's so many things at play on the internet, never to take anything personal. And it's not that doesn't, the way something performs on the internet never defines how good or bad something is. There's so many things going on, and there's a lot of competition now.
Yeah.
and platforms are changing every day.
Yeah.
Hey,
It's funny because on your community tab, you posted maybe about a month ago about you asked which platform treats musicians the best right now. And I like to know
TikTok.
that too a lot. Yeah. So TikTok is definitely it. Because what was funny is you mentioned the people voting for YouTube clearly aren't musicians. I thought that was funny,
I was a little frustrated at that time. I'm glad that I'm a little past that now. I was at the time I was a little frustrated.
But it's like what you said, you ended up answering the question before I asked, because it's like you said, don't take anything personal, because it's like, it's so many variables that are in play that it's like it's kind of out of your control, right? You're just throwing it out there and like hoping for the best. You're trusting a machine to
well, also too, a lot of people, it goes even deeper than that. There are a lot of people who, if you want to really compete and in the original music market or whatever, you have to be willing to put advertisement in there too.
Yep.
And that's a whole other thing. You got to, like, unfortunately, sometimes you have to buy into the game now, whereas it's a little bit more, it used to be a little bit more of a free for all, which TikTok is a free for all. But the thing about TikTok is that, I mean, there's no way to monetize it. It's just all exposure. I mean, you can get some good exposure and attract people into like different other platforms that could generate revenue. But that platform in and of itself is just really, right now, it's a generous algorithm, but it's only good for that exposure.
Yeah,
that's it.
And you can make some money off it if you're American. Is that correct? Because I know in Canada you can't.
I don't know. I have not had any kind of sponsorships with them, so I don't know.
Okay, interesting.
I don't know.
I do want to know, from where you're sitting, let's say somebody else, let's say somebody already has a YouTube channel and they're established for doing whatever it may be, and they want to start putting music out. Would you say it's better to start a new channel and just put your music out and start with a new algorithm, or is it destined to fail, like if you put it on your existing channel? Not fail, but not do as well.
You're asking me like if somebody who's already established?
Yeah, like if you were to go back based on what you know now about the algorithms? Would you make a music channel just for your music, or how would you do it?
No, I would just say put, it doesn't matter. And it makes more sense to put it out to put it out to where the most people are going to see it. Because like if I had put out the Set the Charge video on a new channel, I know less people would have seen it.
Yeah.
Right.
Like for what it's worth, like, yeah, it may not have been a smash hit at the ballpark, like a million views or whatever, but it got way more viewership than I would have if nobody was watching me. I just said you just have to be okay with that, with the fact that original stuff or anything that's a deviation from your normal format may not show the viewership right away, unless it's something that you really believe in and you keep doing it, and consistency will eventually bring you that, because I've been doing that lately. I obviously I'm not doing the Styles videos as much anymore. They're kind of few and far between because they take a lot of work. And this format of me just kind of talking music and demonstrating music and singing and stuff like that is a little bit more less stressful, a little bit more fun and easier to do. So I've been doing that consistently, and it is picking up,
It's funny because like I watched one of your videos where you did, I think, 100 in 100 styles, and like just your method of working as you're working, because you're taping as you're doing it, and then you're trying different. Okay, I'm trying on this. I was like, I would already have a nervous breakdown just like trying to start something like that. Like I'm just curious, is like from conception to publishing, how long does it average take like a video for you to complete one?
Well, if it's gonna be in that format, and say it's just an average 20 styles, it used to be when I worked completely by myself. I had my producer help me on that one. He's been helping me recently. When I worked completely by myself, it would always be an average of 2 weeks because I'd take my sweet time with it. But I've had situations where I had the inspiration to do one and I wanted to get it done quick, and we pulled it off. Me and my producer pulled off the last one we did before that one, which was we did the Olivia Rodrigo song in 3 days.
Nice.
In 10 days, I'm assuming, right?
Right. Yeah. But a lot of the reason why it takes so long sometimes is actually figuring out what section I want to do, because it's never as random as it appears. Because you have to think it through.
Yeah.
And what looks good on paper might not work on
execution.
Yeah. Because it's happened before, where it's like I put down like a style with vaguely knowing what the style sounded like, and then when I went to go listen to it, I'm like, wow, this is not going to work that well, or it doesn't. It clashes. It's just like I don't like that. I'm not feeling that transition. I've had a lot of that. Like I've done so many. I've had so many. That's where I lose my mind. When I can't make up my mind is when I lose my mind.
Yeah.
When I know what I want to do, it's fun, and it's easy, and it comes together relatively quick.
Yeah, and it sounds like you're set on finishing it, whether it takes 3 days or 2 weeks or even longer. Once you've made up your mind, it seems like you're ready to go all the way with that,
right.
Which is a good thing. I'm curious about your appearance in Netflix movie The Dirt, Motley Crue. Obviously, I mean, such a fun movie to watch. It must have been quite an experience to make.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I was gonna say I'm gonna lie. No, I'm not gonna lie. There's nothing really that exciting about the process for me. I was on set for 8 hours for a 10-second appearance when they were doing the interview with MTV, and I was just sitting there. I was just sitting there, kind of laughing and reacting to what they were saying. I was on set for 8 hours.
Wow.
To be on set for a movie, it's not really, it's boring. It's very boring, but it was fun. I spent some quality time out in New Orleans with my stepfather. He came with me for that trip, and it was a good time. New Orleans is great. I've been there a couple of times, but that was fun. I didn't really get to hang out with a lot of the cast outside of being on set. But I mean, I was hanging out with the, you know, having some conversations with them back and forth to the to like the what do you call it, the dress up trailers, you know, where you do all the makeup and the hair and stuff like that. All cool people. Everyone was cool. It was definitely a fun experience, but it was a long experience. This really, that first day, because I came back twice. It was that one scene where I did the interview, and then it was I had to come back like next month and do the scene where we were about to go up on stage and there was barely anybody in the crowd. And they took out my line. I had a line. They took out my line. And
The joys of Hollywood.
yeah, the line was I went up to Mick and I said, when are we supposed to go on? You know, I was really excited.
That took
When are we
up too
supposed to
much
go on?
time.
And they cut
Yeah,
that
and he
out.
said- yeah, and he said he was like 20 minutes ago. Come on. Then he called me like crabs or something.
Yeah, that sounds like Mick.
I love
Right.
Mick Mars, man.
Yeah, Mick is a good guy. I had the pleasure of meeting him.
Oh, nice.
And
The real Mick.
yeah, I did. Yeah.
Wow.
He's a good man. But
Wow.
so it was overall it was a fun experience. I do remember wanting to strangle. I wanted to strangle what's his name? Pete Davidson.
Oh no!
Oh yeah.
I did not know who he was. I didn't know that it was Pete Davidson until months and months later when the trailer came out. I was like, wait, that's Pete Davidson? That guy was Pete Davidson? Because we were backstage and this dude was like, I have a pet peeve, like when people eat and speak at the same time, and he was eating these dried mango slices. Okay. He was like eating these dried mango slices and just loudly chewing and speaking. I was like, yo, this guy's driving me nuts.
Oh man, that's very.
I didn't know it was him. I had no idea it was him. But
was he in
what
costume or something? Like, was he?
Yeah, he had that like orange hair.
Oh,
Remember that?
right.
Remember how he looked at it?
Didn't he
You
have
know,
big glasses or something too?
Yeah. And
Yeah.
he looked way skinnier in person. He looked very frail.
Well,
in
he
person.
already looks skinny on TV, so
I know. but you know how you know what they say that the camera adds
Right.
50
10
pounds.
pounds, 15 pounds. Yeah.
Right.
That's why everyone is real thin.
Anthony, I've got 3 quick questions for you. Like, kind of like they're one-liners. I just want to see how people think. Favorite like they're kind of rapid fire. They'll put you on the spot a little bit, but I like doing this when we interview people. Favorite concert that you've ever attended?
Metallica, S&M, November 1999.
Oh,
That was my
nice.
first concert. I was 12 years old.
Nice.
I saw them
Wow.
with the Symphony Orchestra at Madison Square Garden.
Wow.
Okay.
That's crazy.
Okay. Favorite vocalist?
Boom.
First thing that comes to mind. You don't have to go off and think.
Yeah.
Freddie, Bruce Dickinson. I have to
Freddie-
say both.
Dickinson,
fair enough.
Nice.
Or just give us your top 500 and we can
Oh.
leave it there.
Yeah, it's between Freddie and Bruce Dickinson, Iron Maiden.
Okay.
Solid.
And your personal favorite video that you've put together that you said that you were quite proud of?
Well, if it's out of that format of the Styles videos, I'd have to say Bohemian Rhapsody.
That's
Nice.
good.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Fun
that
stuff, man.
A lot went into that one.
I'm sure. Jeez. That was like all I just like, you know, giving off these kind of rapid fire questions. seeing where it goes.
I love it, man. Yeah, thank you.
Joe Cassius, do you have anything else?
Yeah,
for
I'm
Anthony?
curious. Final
Yeah.
one I have here is like any funny fan, like running into people, like holy shit, that's you. Like, is there any funny stories?
I mean, I don't really go out that much. I'm pretty much like this, you know, what you see is
You're
what you get over
bunkered.
here. But I will say that, you know, anytime I've been to like a music event, there are definitely people who approach me. NAMM, I'm like, you know, anybody who does music, you know, if you do any music on the internet or anywhere, if you go to NAMM and walk around, you're going to get approached. It happens all the time. I remember when I first went viral though, that was the funniest because like I would get stopped I remember I got stopped at the subway, or I got stopped at the Grand Central Station. I was on my way to a show, and some guy at the CVS in Grand Central Station said, "Wait, aren't you the guy from you?" I would get that all the time. At the time when I went viral with Dark Horse, that was I'd always get it all over the place whenever I went out.
That's sick, Anthony. So what's been keeping you busy right now, and what's next for you really on the channel?
There's another. I am working on another Styles video that I'm definitely proud of. I'm proud of this one. It's going to be a good one. It's a lot of Styles. It's not quite as ridiculous and absurd as Journey and 100 Styles, which was something that we, even though it was 100 Styles, we did throw it together because it was part of the challenge. This one is a little bit more carefully crafted.
Nice.
And so that on that end, I'm doing that. I'm releasing more original music within this month and next month too. And that's basically it. That of course I'm putting out more videos, like just personality videos. So check that out as well. But that's it for now.
That's awesome.
Well,
That's all I have. That's all I have. I think it's a pretty eventful rest of the year.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah,
stuff
man.
coming out.
Finishing off strong. Anthony Vincent, thanks so much for taking the time to come on the show, man. It's been a pleasure chatting with you.
Thanks so much. Thanks for having me.
Big shout out to Anthony Vincent for coming on this week's episode of Inner Sleeve. I don't know about you guys, Frank and Joe, but for me, the one thing I really noticed about Anthony, I felt like he was very good at staying focused in the present moment, but also focusing on the future. Like, I felt like the second he hung up, he was going to start working on 10 different projects, and he seems to have a way to keep it all in his mind.
Yeah.
And he finds a way to keep his mind intact, because I don't know how the hell he does that with all this shit that he takes on. But yeah, no, really cool dude. Like, there's something about him, when there's just something about the way he looks and the way he talks, and like you see someone like that and you're like, there's something special there. And you felt that just by talking with him across a screen. Like, you know that this guy is very calculated, like you said, genuine, just like, yeah, I don't know how to explain it. There's just something very good about him.
Well, he's very credible, right? Like, he's like a great singer, so he's the proof's in the pudding right off the bat. And then, like, the fact that he subjects himself to these crazy challenges, and then, he said, like, he does in the old days, or used to do them in one take, dude. You know how risky that is in one take? Like, you gotta start an entire video that's
Crazy.
a challenging video. It's not just like doing
and redoing them, even if, like, let's say he did a 7-minute video perfect, just the last second he would redo the whole video.
Yeah,
crazy.
He was like taking the artistic approach, but even just like when you watch him, how he edits or how he figures out, and like in real time, he's showing you how he does it, and like how I'm gonna try it like this. It's like, wow, I don't understand the process. Like, it would drive me crazy,
He has a really good musical mind. You could tell that just by speaking with him. You could also tell that, like, he's been through it, from a business standpoint, making himself a business, making his own brand. Yeah. For the creators out there who maybe watch this, or you're just watching casually, but think about it from a business standpoint. Like, he just kind of laid it all out there and saying that, it's not always you're not always gonna strike gold with everything you produce, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's bad. Right.
That's it.
100%. I think he was saying never take anything, or at least for the video standpoint, never take anything personally when it comes to an algorithm, which is just a phenomenal way to look at it. It makes me feel better when I post TikToks that get 11 views, and I don't take it personally now. Thanks, Anthony.
But exactly. No, I think he set us at ease a bit, right? Everybody wants to be like the million views and all that stuff, and it's really hard because he said it himself, like when he went viral, and virality has changed, right? So it's like when he went viral, like everything has changed. Platforms have changed. You used to be able to put a link on Facebook and actually get traction, whereas now, forget it. Now Facebook charges you to reach your audience that you built, right, on their platform. So it's
crazy.
it was interesting. And like you said, just because, it doesn't have a lot of views or something, or doesn't mean it's not good, and it is good, so that's, I appreciated that,
Yeah, words of advice, wise words from someone who's been through it all. And yeah, I'm happy that he wasn't bothered or shy to talk about that, kind of just dove right into it without any hesitation.
It's funny because the whole point of when we reaching out to him was when I ended up seeing a video of him challenging a WatchMojo top 10
which was
most
great.
difficult singers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Songs to sing or something,
Songs to sing,
and like I loved how when we asked him like, what made you challenge that, and he was just straight up and saying like, man, I want views, right, or clicks, right? Like it's a game, right? It's like you're trying to get to the next audience that's like, oh, this seems like, that was cool, very appreciated, like how candid he was, and
let
then,
it
like
be
you
known.
said,
Sorry, Joe. Let it be known. He did say he'd love to chat with us again, so we'll try and make that happen.
Let's do that. Absolutely.
But I did cut you off there, Joe. You were gonna make your last
Oh
point.
no, I was just gonna, just say like I was like, we appreciate his time because like you said, like he answered our questions very, like straightforward, candid, and like, we always appreciate that. Like he didn't hold anything back. That's the vibe I got. It was just like, hey man, you want the truth? Here's the truth.
Another thing I got from him is, yes, he has projects up his sleeve, but it's not necessarily everything that we know. Sure, he's going to be doing challenges, but I have a feeling he's going to be doing more. He's continually sort of experimenting with his method of his creation, and that's what I really like about it. It's not like it's an open and closed book of we do some funny challenges and we go home. There's more to be had. There's movies that he's doing. I really thought it was very, very cool. So thank you to Anthony for coming on. Does that call it a show, guys, or is there anything else we wanted to throw in there?
I mean, general stuff, really. Like hit that like button, leave a comment, tell us what you'd like to see from us on the show, on the channel. Check out the links in the description, like we said at the top of the episode, for merch, for anything that's happening in and around the channel. And for those on the audio platform, come on, check us out on the video side of things at SoundMojo. It would be greatly appreciated. That is all from me, though. I'm very happy we did this episode. It was a fun one.
Yep.
And we move on to number 44.
Awesome. Really looking forward to it. And when you guys subscribe on our YouTube channel, SoundMojo, I'm not sure, I think Frank did mention this, but make sure to click that little notification bell right next to the subscribe button. You'll get real-time updates about everything we do. And we definitely want to hear from you guys in those community tabs and polls that Frank mentioned as well. It's all to know what you guys want to see and hear on this program, and we will continue to fine-tune it and gear it towards you guys' liking. So just all you have to do is let us know. Your wish is our command. So thanks so much for tuning into this episode of Inner Sleeve. We'll catch you guys next week.